Duncan, congratulations with Neighborhood Watch. The
Thank
trailer
you.
is great. Some congratulating on the editing because the trailer, not always do we have a great trailer for film lately.
Yeah, thanks. The I don't remember the name of the post house right now, but RLJE, the distributor, was cool to let me work with them on several iterations of the trailer. So we got one we were happy with.
No, let's talk about the film. I love the chemistry. Obviously, it's no secret. I mean, they've been working, they work together in The Boys. Uh,
Hmm.
so what came first, The Boys or this film? Super
The
curious.
boys.
The Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good serendipity because Jack had seen my last movie, The Clofitch Killer. We met a while ago and he expressed an interest in working with each other. And then when this one came around, I sent the script to Jack and he liked it. And then um, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was another candidate for us. And because Jack and Jeffrey Dean had worked together before, then that helped it all come together.
I mean, you're already winning over all the boys fans, me included. So you're gonna have a big audience.
It was crazy sitting with Jack when he first came down to Birmingham. The night he got there, we went out and had dinner together, and um, we sat outside, and I really realized how big of the fan base is for the boys then, because there were so many people that came up to him and said that they loved Huey.
And we actually like Simon. I found it interesting the involvement of Ed helping Simon bring out Simon versus the sister, just referencing to Birdie, kind of like someone that needs help, that extra attention, versus to
Yeah.
Ed starting seeing him like, you're Simon, you're a person. Look at people in the eyes.
Yeah, right, right. Ed teaches him to stick up for himself. Well, Ed calls him more derogatory names than Simon, and then Simon is the one who insists that his name is Simon. And so it is kind of like a process of trial by fire. Simon needed somebody to kind of poke at him and pick on him a little bit so that he could say, "Oh, well, that's not who I am," and stick up for himself.
Yes. So what else was one of the things that you liked about getting to work in this film and directing?
Well, I like that it blended genres from comedy to suspense, a little bit of horror, a little bit of, and in the end, very like emotional drama. I thought that was very well earned, and it's similar to one of the main inspirations for the writer, Sean Farley, was Midnight Run, this movie from the late '80s, with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin kind of hating each other at the beginning of the movie and then being close at the end. And that movie also handles multiple genres very well. They just gel. It's just like there's a certain freedom to it. A movie doesn't have to be one thing. And I liked the challenge of doing that. And I was concerned that it wouldn't like gel. Um, but I think because of the strength of the story and the way that we took the characters seriously, hopefully it does work.
It did. Tell me about the transformation for Jeffrey Dean Morgan for Ed. At first, it was like at first glance, it's like you don't recognize him, and then it's like, oh, it's him.
Yeah, yeah, right. I'm into that. We did that with Dylan McDermott on The Clofitch Killer. I like taking recognizable actors and putting them in a different look or having them do something that you haven't seen them do before. We talked about how Ed has this sort of cowboy self-image and he's a lone ranger and he's kind of like an old school American John Wayne type and an enforcer, but like on the inside he's kind of a loser and a softy and he's lonely. There's this thread in there that's not really apparent, but the reason he's so connected to the community college is that his wife worked there, and she died for some unspecified reason. That was more of a thing in the script, and we felt like we just didn't, it wasn't necessary in the movie. But yeah, he's lonely and he's like really searching for validation. And so we tried to express that through his clothes with like he's kind of like a relic of the past. He's wearing a corduroy jacket and cowboy boots and he drives a car from 1991 and he's just like out of touch, but he still thinks very highly of himself. And so it was about like the gradual kind of breaking down of that facade over the course of the movie. He ends up in a t-shirt. This t-shirt, as a matter of fact, the costume department had this like
Oh,
made up for had it made up for everybody on the cast and crew as a parting gift.
hey, that could be a marketing shirt, just saying.
Totally. Yeah, if I'm ever in financial trouble, I'll sell it on eBay.
Well, lots of fans that love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
buy. So tell me about one of the scenes that you enjoyed seeing Jack and Jeffrey like play their chemistry.
Man, there was this one where in Ed's house where after Ed shows him the license plate lookup site and then he has to put in his credit card, there was something I always thought was really funny about him taking a long time to put in his credit card and Simon just sitting there. And I was like shooting a medium shot of Simon while Ed was putting on his credit card number. And there was something that Jack did there that I thought was this like really funny, kind of like it's awkward. And he's also still a little bit pissed off because he just said, so you're gonna help me? And then Ed said, no, I didn't say that. And so he's still stewing in reaction to that. And I remember that just feeling like we're getting this is getting something about the relationship between these two guys, and that it emerged as "Are you going to help me?" was like an important question throughout the arc of the relationship. It comes up two or three times. It comes up then, and then later after they have the run-in with the pimp. Um, and Jeffrey Dean, Ed says, I'm done with you. I'm going home. Simon says, I thought you were going to help me. And something about like Simon having a person that doesn't abandon him became like very important. I also like the scene after that where Simon is making fun of Ed for not being able to hear. He's like, "Oh, you got a hearing problem? I think you do." And that was like a cool turning of the tables because it's all been coming from Ed the whole time, and now they're sort of equals in terms of the banter. And I love to see that transformation, and I loved how much fun they had with it.
One of my favorite scenes was well, there were several, but one of them was covering how Simon feels in these part of it's his mental illness, right? And
Mm,
how he hears voices and give
yeah,
an example of what those moments are like with the radio.
yeah, yeah. That one came together really well. And credit to Sean Farley, the writer, for coming up with that. That that turned out to be a really impactful scene for me as well. And part of that sequence in the middle of the movie where it's just them getting to know each other. And I was not sure how well that was working when we were cutting the movie, and I actually cut out the eye contact scene because I thought it was just slowing down, and we needed to get to back to the mystery. And then Sean and producer Chris Ballant, they convinced me to put it back in, and then I screened it for a bunch of people, and that whole part worked really well. And I realized that like the appeal of the movie is what was originally appealing to me, is that just being with these two guys. I like hanging out with these two guys more than the mystery part of it. So it's cool to like feel that connection with the audience way farther down in the process of like, oh, if people kind of like what I originally liked about the script, that's feels good.
The eye contact, and it left me wondering like how important that is.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like, especially today, I feel like we're so into like our thoughts, our phones. We become a little
Yeah.
antisocial, and we kind of lack that eye contact.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a theme of the movie. Hopefully it is showing the value of knocking on your neighbor's door and getting outside of your bubble, connecting with the people around you. That was what that was part of the appeal for me for sure.
Would it be a spoiler to talk about the discovery at the end?
You can talk about whatever you want. It's okay with me.
Okay. So one another thing also is how close and oblivious we are to the things happening around us. That
Hmm.
anything can be happening next door, maybe someone being hidden, in a
Yeah.
basement. It's pretty scary. And maybe we need to be extra aware.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we do. That was a theme in my last movie as well. It's kind of like what's happening below the surface. So I guess that is a little bit of a counterpoint to what I was just talking about, which is that you should reach out to your neighbor. But now we're saying like maybe your neighbor is hiding somebody in the basement. So who knows what to do? There's a funny story about that little hidden compartment in the attic that we had that in the script, right? And we're trying to figure out how do we build like a special sort of like a fake closet so that we can put a tiny little door. And we were there at the location, and it was this older woman from Alabama. She was very sweet. She'd had like a commercial shoot there before, and then we're talking about how we're gonna build this special set to get this tiny door. And she's like, "Oh, you looking for a tiny door that leads to the attic? I have that over here." And then she takes us over to this other closet in the attic and open it up, and there it is, a tiny little door leading to a piece of the attic that you could, conceivably be holding a hostage in. It was one of those things that felt like the universe is on my side today.
A little creepy too, random.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you filmed in Alabama.
Yeah, we filmed in Birmingham. That was a last minute deal. We were gonna shoot in Northwest Arkansas where I live, and at the last minute, Birmingham had to happen for budget reasons. And I'd never been there, but it turned out to be a great deal that it did happen that way because it's visually a very textured and diverse city in terms of diversity of locations. It's like five cities in one. The people are amazingly friendly and welcoming, and the crews are awesome.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations with the film. I
Thank
enjoyed
you so much,
it very
Nancy.
much.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I appreciate your time.
Yes, of course. And congratulations double because you have some of the popular male stars right now.
I feel very lucky. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.